New report that's coming out assessing that COVID-19 origin possibly coming from a Chinese lab. So we're learning more about this here on this Monday. Certainly a big development, as now more than 1 million Americans have died from that COVID-19 virus in the pandemic that began more than 3 years ago. The U.S. intelligence agency still searching for answers. We want to bring in now our Fox 5 team out of New York. Chris Welch, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about this new report, and what are we learning today?
Well, we're learning more new information that's adding fuel to the fire. The debate is raging on here in terms of where and how the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic began. There was this report in the Wall Street Journal from yesterday that the general consensus for a long time has been that intelligence officials on both have had opinions on both sides of the aisle. Back in 2021, the WHO came out and said a lab leak was, quote, I've got it right here, extremely unlikely. Now, they've since, over the last couple of years, softened up a bit on that. They've remained a little bit more open to the possibility that a lab leak might have happened. But this report yesterday saying that the U.S. Department of Energy concluding in a classified report that it was likely to have come from a lab is making things even more confusing.
The bottom line is we need to keep an open mind.
That was Dr. Anthony Fauci, former head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, responding to a question from the Boston Globe Monday about a story that first broke in the Wall Street Journal. The journal cites a classified intelligence report from the Department of Energy in which the department concludes that the COVID pandemic likely arose from a laboratory leak in Wuhan, China. But that conclusion was made with, quote, low confidence.
I'm not sure exactly of the data upon which the Department of Energy statement was made.
The White House neither confirming nor denying the story, but maintaining that COVID's origins remain uncertain.
There has been no consensus, so I think they're working through that. The intelligence community is working through getting to the bottom of this.
Previously, the only government agency to publicly say they believe it was a lab leak, the FBI. 4 other U.S. intelligence agencies believe COVID spread naturally.
The intelligence community and the rest of the government is still looking at this. There's not been a definitive conclusion.
I think it's very preliminary, especially when you say that only one department, Department of Energy, has made the statement.
Dr. Serge Sugar is chief of infectious disease at Holy Name Medical Center.
The other major government agencies have not changed their statements, so I think that's telling that this is what they're calling low confidence.
Chinese officials on Monday insisting that the World Health Organization and Chinese experts had reached an authoritative scientific conclusion that the lab leak theory was, quote, extremely unlikely.
The relevant parties should stop playing up lab leak theory, stop smearing China, and stop politicizing the issue of origin tracing.
So, as mentioned in that story there's one government agency that believes it may have occurred from a lab. There are 4 intelligence agencies that believe this was a natural occurrence, that it jumped from animals to humans in the wild. It did not come from a lab. Bottom line, you've heard it said there a few times, we just don't know for sure yet.
Definitely. It's very interesting because obviously it was a whole government investigation. That's what John Kirby, the National Security Council spokesperson, said today. But it coming from the Department of Energy that potentially oversees a lot of laboratories, you would imagine, does that give it a little bit more credence, a little bit more credibility, just potentially where this report came from?
I think the fact that it came from that department does, yes, but then the fact that you've got other U.S. officials telling various media outlets that they made this assessment with, quote, low confidence takes some of that credibility away then. And so what we've heard from several health experts today, we heard it from Anthony Fauci today, it would be great if the U.S. Department of Energy could release some of the data that, caused them to make this conclusion so that other health officials can sort of figure out why this determination was made and maybe get other people on board with it. The White House was asked today at that press briefing, you were playing some of it there a minute ago, would you consider declassifying this classified report that the Wall Street Journal apparently got their hands on? They wouldn't say yes or no and really wouldn't confirm or deny the story, but just by the fact that they're addressing it and not coming out and denying it, seems like this one report regarding the U.S. of Energy, it is true.
Could be leading to more information. So thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now, and I'm sure we'll be keeping our eyes on this headline as well.
Will Will do. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you so much.